Is that your TV, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm just. Oh, everything's broken. Hang on.
We're on. We're live. Hello, scribes, scribettes, sovereigns, initiates, and etc. Oh, we've got a quadruple whammy for you tonight of 21st of January 2023. We have Brother Anders, Albert, Kevin, and myself. Welcome, thank you all. I'm just going to share the link to the usual places, and we will get going, boys. Do you want to say hello, introduce yourselves while I get busy? Not all at once.
Anders.
There we go. Just putting the links into Facebook, the domain.com, and Telegram. Yes, yes. Take a note of the title. It's quite vital. There we go. I've done Facebook, I've done SPLs. I'll just pop into Telegram, boys and girls. Check the audio. I've done Facebook, I've done SPLs. Yeah. Sherry, hello. I see a scribe in the room. Bert, Kevin, do you want to say hello and announce your presence? Kevin's muted. Sorry, I've just noticed. Sorry, bro. Albert's
I'm
muted.
glad I can hear you.
There we go.
Evening all. Hope you're all well. It's been a while. Yes, it's all good. I can complain, but I'm not going to bother. Hope everybody's well. Had a good start to the new year, 1984, and yeah, welcome to all.
Thank you for joining. Thank you for your time.
No worries.
Morning, 6 o'clock.
When are you sending out the link here?
Albert, Anders, say again, sorry.
I said, when are you sending out the link here on Telegram?
It's in the mods, it's in the private chirp. I'm just putting it in the public now. So, admins, SPL's admins has got it. Live on Beyond Indiglo.
Oh.
There we go. You get it, You got it.
Yes.
Very good.
Michelle.
You see the room, Kevin? Yeah, you're in.
Yeah. It hasn't been started up since the last time we broadcast the tablet, so I think it thought it had been laid to rest. It took a bit of time. It's quite a while, isn't it, Dave? When was the last one we did? It's got to be October or something, isn't it? September?
Yeah, I couldn't be too precise.
Remember.
I did one this year on the soul of man to do with Joseph, Mary, Christos, the sacred secretion. But other than that, yeah, some time ago with.
That's an interesting soul of man, Solomon.
The book. Let me get that while you're here, everyone. That's interesting to know. Right there.
But do you know why he got that name, Solomon?
Go on.
Because he was never married.
I missed.
Makes sense.
Solo man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1 second. Get back on.
What's that?
Where is it? Let me see the screen.
I love technology.
God, man, the word made flesh, Doctor.
Got my tablet telling me that I can't watch the video I'm watching.
Does it make no sense? Yeah. Is my mic all right? Yeah.
Yes,
Not
it's
changing the
lovely,
view.
Dave.
I put it on gallery from on speaker view, so I don't know how to get me so I can show you that book. Yeah. It's just terrible with the background on God-man, the Word made flesh. That's where the Solomon idea came from. George W. Carey. You can't find any first prints of it. It's quite hard to find because it was published in 1920. The Chemistry of Life Co., Los Angeles. Dr. George W. Carey and Inez Adora Perry, authors of The Wonders of the Human Body, The Chemistry of Life, etc. So Santos was talking about the energy. Sarah and Abraham, when I talk about Cerebraham and the brain, there's a chapter there titled Sarah and Abraham. When I say cerebrum, the terminology of the brain and its parts is quite awkward for someone who's dyslexic to read cerebellum, cerebrum, and certain things. But this is where the content of that came from, and there's nothing new under the sun. But it's very fascinating read for the way that they've interpreted the metaphors, the metaphysics. And you most of you, the scribes yourselves, will have heard perhaps Santos go on about on certain talks with solstices, equinoxes, times, years, zodiacs, about the 33 vertebrae and the seed, the solar plexus. And I just thought, because it was Christmas time, we'd come out of that. I worked on that, and if you want to get more of it, then that's where that came from. But he's also done another book, George, The Zodiac and the Salts of Salvation, parts 1 and 2. It's not so bad, but there's quite a lot there. We have the PDF in the library as well on SPLs, but that's about when you're in the womb and the 9 months you're in there. There's allegedly 12 essential salts. I don't know this off by heart, but from what I've been reading and what I've picked up, the 3 months that you're not in the womb is the minerals that you're likely to be deficient. So 9 months in the womb out of the 12, the 3 months that you're not, there is advice and ideas about salts and things, how to mineralize your body and see what you're deficient in. It's interesting in itself, but yeah, it's just nice to escape from out of law, out of other such areas. We're here today though to discuss and talk about what we can do in our communities, how we can help and support one another, ideas that we're having, working together as a cooperative. The word community, is a social order, community. So I'd like to let you all know that we have an idea, several ideas, not just one, but a revenue generating idea where we could every year collect up what we've generated and distribute it back into the community. You would distribute it, whoever was trustee for that area, manager, trustee, same thing, and you would decide who in your area, or they would apply. This is all, we're building the boat as we sail it as per usual, but the community social cooperatives, private trusts basically, where we would pool our resources, we would form a cooperative based on postcodes, based on cities, based on villages. So we would need to manage this ourselves privately. It will be done through the splspro.com private domain. A lot of it will be kept private, but the public will know what they need to know. And if they would like to step up and take part and help with manpower, number one, if we had 5,000 souls each given an hour a month, we got 5,000 hours a month, which collectively, Venus Project, Jack Fresco, nothing new under the sun, just ideas whilst we've been quiet whilst this channel's been quiet, whilst I've been sorting my shit out, and you've been doing the same. 2 years of mismanagement of the fiasco known as COVID-19. I think now is the time, when we look at the world stage, we look at England and we see the director at the UK administration is failing in many areas. It's abysmal, to put it politely, isn't it? You ring for an ambulance with a heart attack issue, and it might be 3.5 hours on average before the ambulance arrives for a heart attack. Not in every area, but in some areas, doctors are hard to get an appointment with. We've got a dentistry drought. We can't get dentists. The NHS have published their findings and reports annually, and independent analysis has gone through, and on the home pages of SPLs and through the main media yourselves, you will see stories, reports, journalistic retrievals such as England's, UK's crisis, 1,000 excess death each week as the NHS buckles. So 13 years of austerity. I'm not going to get into it all now, it's not the time and the place, but the point is that financial, education, social care, domestic areas, public areas of service are failing. People are striking left, right and centre. Interest, cost of living, inflation. It's just, we need to now take stock, I think, and look at what we can do for ourselves. Anybody got any comments or thoughts on that while I say hello to the room? By all means.
It's no surprise it's fallen apart, is it really? I mean, everything else that's going, it's all part of the plan. It's all part of the bullshit. But they don't find this thing. I would find money for buy all these hotel rooms for immigrants and all the rest of it, and give them benefits. But it's all going on the national debt, people. Generations and generations and generations will never pay it off. It's just sordid and disgusting, and it winds me up. That's what I'm saying at the moment.
There was a report on one of the channels saying that there was a hotel being proposed for housing of immigrants, and they had asylum seekers, immigration, economic migrants, whatever you want to, what we mean. And they were saying that they've come across the channel illegally, so let's just stop a minute before we get into that. So one of the basic governing principles of any agreement and social contract we made, we gave up the right to bear arms. We gave up the right to bear arms because we entered into some kind of a social contract where we would feel safe and protected and looked after. And we don't feel safe, protected and looked after with people like David Carrick and Wayne Cousins running around. So again, I didn't bring the police in, but we gave up. Let's not get into that now. Put your comments in, make a note, come back to it. There's so much to throw into the cement mixer of doom for this chat show, but we haven't got that protection. We can prove that. It can be proven. It's not conspiracy theorists. It's not hate speech. It's not matters of national security at risk here. We're at risk. Our security is at risk. Our young bloods are at risk. Our livelihoods are at risk. Our lives even. And so that contract has broken down. They failed. There's a massive failure there. And so we've got illegal gangs, the UK Ministry of Defence can't control the effing borders. What more reasons do you need for lack of trust and such things as that? At the end of the day, we have technology that could manage the borders with the forces and the people that are paid to in the Ministry of Defence and the UK Border Force and X, Y and Z. And so, again, it comes to the point where the UK Home Office are giving out numbers and estimates of how many they think are going to come across the channel this year, and they're coming across without anything to identify them, and we don't know who and what they are, where they're from. Albania seems to be exporting themselves quite a lot for a country that isn't at political instability and war and so forth, and that was on the news. That's not my opinion, it's a fact. And then they come across, as they do, illegally, we'll say, because they're on boats that are uncharted, and you have the right to travel, fair dues, but it comes to a point where we have to recognise that then they are captured at some point. Some of them are seemingly captured, and they're processed, and after that, and I know it's not a nice thing to go through, the journey, the ordeal, and then they offered to put them up in hotels such as Skegness, Blackpool, etc. And then I saw an interview where a homeless man was on the street who was an ex-soldier, not supported by the state, saying, well, why do these guys that have come across illegally in criminal gangs, some of them, not all, and I'm getting left out cold on the street? I don't see how that is right, justice, or proper in any way. So you can kind of see the man's point, can't you, to be fair?
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. It's turned into gone back 50 years, haven't we?
This goes back in history too, because this happened one time before when the Vikings was coming, you know, and they was coming to your country and they was living a good life there, and both was attacking Christianity. Just think about it.
Yeah. It's another reckoning.
We've got some chat going off already. The room's flowing. I'm not going to get to it straight away, but we've got four of us, 8 eyes then. Sherry, Mitch, Jerry, Barnster, JJ, new scribes as well. I see Spirit, Faith, End Times. Thank you for your viewership, George of the Bensons. Every foreigner coming in costs 65,000 per annum. Merlin's assistant, aka Amanda, says it's Babylonian. There's a lot going in there. I'm not going to read everything, but thank you. We'll mention those as we go along. Foreign war, we've got money for supporting Ukraine. I'm not saying we shouldn't. I'm not saying we should. Into Ukraine and what Ukraine's done, and its anti-humanitarian war on its own people. President, what's his name? Zelensky. I can't think. Zelensky was a reality TV show star. And, wow.
And a bit of a gay pride activist, I see.
Yeah. Well, support.
Dressed in leather with his little S&M gear on. Brilliant. So much faith in these leaders.
Cost of living crisis, you know, there's money for commerce, there's money for war, there's money for certain avenues of commercial enterprise, but there isn't money for disabled, less abled, we'll call them, you know, aka disabled, social care, nurses, hospitals, ambulance, dentists, doctors, etc. The roads around here and the East Midlands are like the surface texture of the moon. In fact, I'd say the moon might be a little bit smoother compared to the potholes and divots. So again, the thousands of millions of pounds even that would be generated through PCNs, speeding fines and tax paid for road tax. Where's it going? What's happening? It's about time we recognise that to be in the system and to fight the system and to resist within the system is to assist. And some of you may have picked up on the post I did some days ago regarding our future plans, and me putting down that we would ultimately be better off exiting the system, managing things privately ourselves, and to resist into the system is to assist. So to stop the system working, the more of us that could get out and stop being self-reliant or so reliant upon it. You know, you do it incrementally. You don't just exit the system. You need to prepare and provide alternative means, you know, alternative provisions for the provisions that we currently get off the state. But the way that we would look at it is a computer circuit, take out the resistors in the computer circuit, electronics, whatever it is, circuit, and it will fail to work. So while ever we remain in the circuit, acting as a resistor, resisting that force, that energy, then we assist it. So I appreciate it's not as easy to do physically as it is to talk about doing, but that's the premise of our establishment, our public-private trust that we have and what we're proposing today. There is ways that we could educate privately. We're not forced to go to the schools and be indoctrinated. Mark Twain never let school get in the way of your education. Quite a lot of business tycoons and chief executives and directors and etc. high up elect billionaires dropped out of school. They didn't take their exams, presidents and so forth. It's been foretold. So we would do well to try to, mechanics, repairs, building. Think of all the things that we can do collectively. If we form with Greg, with yourselves, with SPOs, a directory of services that we can offer. When I say services, non-commercial and private, and in a whole new way, stepping away from the Bradbury pound, stepping away from promissory notes, etc., but making it so we can. The Bank of Dave is on Netflix, is it not? The Bank of Dave. So again, it's that kind of value. We have value, and we have freedom to some extent. And I'd like us to try and capitalise on that. I'm not going to say live on Tube what exactly the ideas are, but we will discuss them in our private Telegram, and you will see. We will showcase. We will role model. We will premiere and announce what we are doing, and then we will show you. And if you like it, then you're welcome to copy and emulate. You can do it independently. You don't have to do it as long as it happens. I think we'll be a lot better off. And most of us, to be fair, are doing this already. We used to go to the pub when we was younger, didn't we, gentlemen, and arrange wheeler dealings there. Yeah, when you needed something doing and you wanted to go and get a quote and a price. It might have just been me.
Yeah.
I'd generally find the boys at the pub and start there. But they've all shut.
Yeah.
COVID's knocked them out. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, nobody can afford to go there anymore.
How much is a pint down south, Bert?
It's
Kevin?
probably about
I've got
£6,
two, mate. Yeah. Give up drinking long time ago in pubs and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's about £6. Depends where you go. Going to London and you'll fall over dead. Sound wise. Ridiculous money, mate.
£8 for a pint. The airport prices.
You can go and buy it. You can go and get 8 cans for a £5 down the corner shop with the same stuff. For Christ's sake.
Yeah, but can you even do that now? 8 cans, £5. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I don't go out, Albert.
No,
You
I
like
know,
drinking
but I mean,
Skull?
nowadays,
I'm,
yeah.
8 cans of Skull.
I'm winging it from last time I was at the Skull.
That was for
Double
Anders.
Diamond. Jeez, we're going back that bad.
Sure.
As he look, he's got himself up twice here, Anders. What's going on?
He's raised his hand. What's going on, Anders? Yeah.
Hogging the screen with 2 profiles.
Let's have a look. It says he's raised his hand, yeah. I don't know what's happened there.
That maybe it's code for having a wank.
Do not judge other people by your own standards, KP.
Why not? They're usually pretty close.
We'll let Anders carry on doing it. Right, speaking of Kevin, Kevin's cough has made an appearance, and on this first appearance, I'd like to say that I've been testing out, on the advice of our scribes and people on Tube, this little product here. It is namely the famous tea mullein leaf, MULLEIN. Has anybody else taken this and felt a benefit? Because what I have here is a 60ml bottle that you put 1 pipette in, 1 drop, into your mouth every day, under your tongue. It's 100 milligram per 1 ml drop. It's 6,000 milligram, it says, mg total. 60 ml bottle, 6,000 milligram total, 100 milligram per 1 ml that you drop on your tongue. So it says, I've been taking that for a week now, bearing in mind I've smoked for 30 years, and I have broken, I have, what's the word, at times had a quick zigzag. Again, totally free of cannabis, and that's a blessing, because I never thought I'd master that after a long time in and out, self-medicating. Alcohol doesn't agree with me, so I smoked a shitload of trees in my time, and soap bar, and all the things back in the day. And so I'm trying to get a bit healthier, because in 5 years I'll be 50, and I'm conscious of that, and I'm happy to say that this mullein leaf, or mullein leaf, is absolutely banging. I'm not giving medical advice here, I'm just letting you know that I've taken this for a week, so I've had a total of maybe 10 drops total, 10 mil. It looks like it's not even been used, and my lungs, I know they're still full of tar and oil and they need cleansing and etc, but other than that, they feel like brand new. They really do. You can take a deep breath, it doesn't hurt. So thank you all. We've been talking about this for a couple of years, Kevin, Albert, Anders and Scribes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've recognised the name and so forth, but now I've taken it, I can't say enough good things about it.
Good. Let's hope some mullein reps are listening.
Well, it's a tea. You can get the seeds and grow your own tea. You can buy the tea from various outlets online. You can choose where you go. You could perhaps, in our communities, we could organically produce some nice trees of our own. That would be lovely, wouldn't it? Including the leaf, this leaf, sugar leaf.
Yeah, I was down in the basement.
Ooh, your mobile.
Another euphemism.
Right, let's look at the chat room a minute. Share it on Telegram, please. What we got going off. Let's just check the room a minute. I want to keep up.
I've been putting the gimp away, Anders, have you, for the night?
Anders, microphone, Anders, feedback.
Oi, 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 oi. It's muted.
Yeah, you.
No, it isn't.
Is it okay now?
Yeah.
Lovely.
But the host has muted my video. Am I ugly today? Yeah.
No way, have I? That's by accident.
The host.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't believe him, Anders.
No, I have by accident.
I don't want to wind anything up, but.
Oh, I like that photo actually. It was Amanda was taking that photo when I was visiting England.
Here we go. I'm asking you to start video. Ask to start video. I thought you'd got problems with your camera, so I was trying to help you fix it. I didn't know you was in the basement. Boom. There we go. Yeah, it does. It helps. It allegedly helps the lungs build cells up. If you research, I've typed it into the chat room, the name of the leaf. Have a look at it, check it out, and let me know. Kevin you'll be noticing it with Kevin after a month or so. We'll get on and see how his cough is. You can do a review if that's all right when I send it you down.
But those mullein leaf.
No worries.
This mullein leaf. I think there should be a mullein worm also. I've been reading about that one. Isn't that making a sort of silk or something? Some larva or something. Larva.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm not sure, but...
It's known as cowboy toilet roll, says Jerry, aka cowboy toilet roll. Well-known plant for lung and cough. It sorts out mucousy lungs, it sorts out the burn. It's so if you have a Bernie chest, if you've got a lot of mucus, having dairy, cheese, yogurts, and things like this is not good. If you get it when it's cold, if it's when it's cold temperature, if you get a cough and a cold, mucus, burning, phlegm, then stop having dairy, stop smoking as much if at all possible. Stop smoking and don't go on to a vape and take this leaf and see what happens. You'll alkalinity, lemons, cider vinegar, going up from acid 0 to 11 pH alkalinity. So again, when we look for remedies in life, we don't just look at lawful remedies for legal binds. We look at you, us together. We've got a shitload of knowledge and a shitload of good knowledge. Jack Fresco, the late great Jack Fresco, wanted the world to be free of all charges and created the Venus Project with who? I can only think of Roxanne Meadows now, but there was someone who did the Zeitgeist. Might be Peter somebody, Jack Fresco, Roxanne Meadows. So the Venus Project, was a way for humans to live to the resources that they had, and if there wasn't the resources for what you need, then you wouldn't be able to do what you wanted to do because the resources are low. So making a shitload of lithium batteries for electric cars might be a good option if there's easily accessible lithium, and if it's long-term viable and cheaper and easier than burning fossil fuels, we would go ahead. Hydrogen. Now let's look at the world being 80% thereabouts water. Hydrogen comes from water via electrolysis, H2O. So 2 hydrogen molecules and 1 oxygen. They're both flammable gases. One explodes, one implodes. The world is full of that, but we're not allowed to burn water because it's not taxable. So, we're at a climate crisis now because of the Henry Ford, and the combustion engine. We talk of technologies and so forth, and you think of the Navy and the Army, how long they've been burning these fuels, and all of a sudden it's on us to correct it. So I'll leave it there. Remedies outside of law, natural areas that we need to look at, medicines. It's not just about good self-governance. The general practitioners. I watched by accident, YouTube recommended In Sickness and in Health, Alf Garnett, season 1, episode 1, 1979, early 1980s, was it? I was knee-high to a grasshopper, but I remember Alf Garnett. I remember watching that with my grandma, and he was on about the general practitioners, GPs. He says, you think they practice on those with the money or the millionaires? He says, they don't practice on them. They do the real deal. It's in here and he's slagging off the hospitals, and nothing's changed, and we still are seeing what we're seeing. History repeating itself. Money is still an illusion. Back then, I suppose, Albert, we could have gone into the bank and got some sterling silver for our £1 notes, could we not?
Yeah. Shame they don't bring it back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would be nice to hear something about the private trusts.
Well, if you join splspro.com, not to blow our own trumpet, we have the information there. We have videos on this channel about private trusts. What exactly would you like to know about private trusts, Anders?
Oh, I would like to know everything about it.
It's to be a trust and equity counsellor, we'll say barrister, it will cost you tens of thousands of pounds and lots of years of study and examinations, and then service as a solicitor, working up to barrister level and getting up to Queen's Counsel. So to be a master of this, it takes a lot of money and a lot of time. Now we're looking to give you shortcuts. That's all we're looking to do. We won't sell you a trust, but we will give you ideas and information and the case law and the publications and the professors, and that's all we can really do in the public. But there's a lot since 2015 when we started to talk about the triangle window, trustee, beneficiary, settlor, split titles, title rights, legal titles, you know, and going down this avenue, a lot more organisations and groups and businesses have set up that were selling trusts. And I see Simon Spaniard's called a few out, which was nice. White Rabbit, well done.
Yeah, fair play.
I am continuously improving. I've made significant progress, and we've provided everything you need to know for expressing a private trust, and the case law to go with that, like the Knight versus Knight, I forget the year, the three certainties case law, and Paul versus Constance, I believe 1971, where you've got the judge saying they didn't use the word trust. You know, this money that was in the account is classified as a trust account, and you know, there wasn't the word trust used. They didn't know they were setting up a trust, but a trust was deemed to be valid and in effect. But then you've got a direct correlation. What people find is, what I've found is, what Kevin has and some of you, is you say, Dave, that for a trust to be valid, you must satisfy the three certainties as in Knight versus Knight. Yes, that's correct. Okay, so therefore, if you've got the three certainties of intention, objects, and subject matter, certainty of each, then a trust is valid. Yes, but then you've said, and Alistair says, and other people have said, that in Paul versus Constance, he didn't use the word trust, and he didn't know he was setting up a trust, but there was a valid trust. So which is it? And I'm like, well, hold up. That's where equity comes in now. Whereas common law is black and white, and okay, you've asked a question and you've said, for a trust to be valid, the three certainties, Knight versus Knight, need to be satisfied. But there wasn't in Paul versus Constance. So how does that work? Well, equity, as we talk about equity, accompanies all trust. So it's not just knowing about private trusts, it's correlation and looking at the jurisdictions of common law, English common law. When I say common law, I mean your general statutory rules and effects that come out from the legislative arm of government. They're still common law, but they're not common law as what we know from back in the day. We've come to evolve. We've changed how people look at common law. Equity and trust are common law. Trust law and equity are in English common law within the High Courts. They was fused together, dual streams, common law and equity, if you like, in the 1873-1875 Adjudicature Act. So I'm closing down, but you can express your own trust quite easily and effectively, and knowing how to prove a trust, the last step. You know, I've just given you 5 years worth of research and 10 grams worth of effort just there. You know, there are a lot more particulars to this, and the propositions of equity need to be adhered to, and you need to have clean hands and etc. But we can show you all about this, and that's kind of what we specialise in. And I'll leave it there. You know, was that all right for you? Does that make sense?
That sounds good. But I don't think many people know about equity and how to use equity.
No, it's been hidden from us. A bit like these other things we find out about are invaluable to us, like 0 point energy, like the power, the law of attraction, the true meaning of prayer, Solomon's temple, because it's a bit like benefits. What did I put what did I post in as when I was in journalist, when I was wearing my journalistic hat? £15 billion worth of benefits are unclaimed each year. Because people don't know they can get that money, they can claim that entitlement. So if you don't know of something, you're not going to use it. So that's why things are occulted. And you know, you may draw your attention back to my post about, you know, things that are occult, the teachings, the principles, the 7 Hermetic principles, for the love of Jesus. You know, we look at giving you these apocalyptic disclosure. It was a little bit apocalyptic. Apocalypse, true meaning, will give you reveal. Occult means hidden. So we look and give you this disclosure, this knowledge, and return it back to you. So we find, you know, that there's things out there that unless you seek them, you won't find them. Unless you're in the right circles, you will never know them. It's a bit like rights, the legal system. You know, those that fail to assert their rights have none. Manly P. Hall, The Teachings of All Ages from 1928, helps, you know, but he's a bad man and we can't talk about him, so we're not, you know, he's censored. But those that go in and look at Manly P. Hall, Alistair Crowley, and other H.P. Blavatsky, etc., you will find, you know, silence shall not be deemed as consent. That's what the law says, in its way. Ignorance is not bliss, you know. So we try to translate the metaphysical metaphors, allegory, parables, and remove the supposition for you. And ignorance is the sole reason that humanity continues to fall farther into this bondage. So Netflix and Amazons and streaming and Disney and, you know, the TV that we've got, we've enslaved ourselves by the technology. Some of us have anyway. Laws, when we look at laws, LORES, we look at them in every culture. But cultures are them little bugs kept in a petri dish, a controlled environment. That's why we're known as a culture. The 1908 Kabbalion by the three initiates and the principles of, you know, the seven that are there. So we need to do it with each other, like Claudio's doing, like Santos has done, like Jordan Maxwell's done, like we're doing, like each one of you are doing, those with channels, those that post and comment and try to help. The truth, you will know the truth, and then the truth will set you free. It will make you free. So each and every one of us is affecting this reality. This is real. This is real with every thought and action. And if one chooses to remain ignorant of these Stone Cold Steve, what was that wrestler called? Stone Cold Steve somebody. Yeah, these stone cold hard facts.
Austin.
To be the flock, the folk, you know, and we're in the wrong vibrations for certain things, being upset, being sad, being angry, crying, going to the priest to beg for help, and not knowing who we are, where we are, you know. So we will help in many ways, in all ways that we can, with one another. Each one is to teach one, and we have a private cooperative and self-help lawful union in our private domain. We have public unions and cooperatives, and we right now, January 2023, are faced with some cold, stark decisions to make. A UK directorate which is crumbling, a monarchy which is fighting itself, writing biographies and naming and shaming, you know, Harry and William. The monarchy collapse is inevitable. The respect has gone. You know, Andrew buying himself out of a legal liable lawsuit for 12 million quid, even though claiming he was innocent. So, again, the government, how many prime ministers have we had in the last 6 months? You know, tax scandals with the Chancellor of the Exchequer, the church and the scandals there, the police. I've just mentioned Wayne Couzens, Sarah Everard, David Carrick. There is no area which is unscathed, and area of Babylonia which isn't crumbling. So, as Kevin said, it is by design. And if we sit back and watch idly, smoking, drinking, thinking someone else will fix it, and then if we tolerate this, then our children will be next. I yield.
Yeah. Something's got to break, something's got to give, but I don't know. I don't think we've got the momentum in this country. Not enough of us. That's the problem. Because we could end all this nonsense easily in numbers just by going and surrounding Parliament and having a little word.
I saw Jesus Jones, he been commenting here on the side of YouTube, and he says, there is a bank that has one customer that refused to go online, so it has to stay open.
Okay.
And I don't know what bank it is yet, so but it's quite interesting. So if there is one person that refused to go online, they have to keep the bank open.
All right. So the doors, the physical building is actually open. It's not. It can't. So it's physical. I don't
Yeah, that's
understand.
how I see it.
How
I
you-
don't really know, but that's how I read it, you
Yeah.
know.
So I see where that's coming from. Yeah, I'm not having anything to
But
do with the online
Barclays,
stuff. Yeah,
it says
he's put the
Barclays.
article a bit further down. Yeah, that don't surprise me. Barclays, just call it them all Rothschilds.
We have to remember. We do remember, but we got to we got to remind others that we have strength in numbers, and we also know, as I've said, resistance is assistance. Why we're trying to say we need to.
Futile.
Yeah, we need to reside into the private. In the private, people say, "What do you mean by the private? How do you define the private, David?" Well, not in the public. As a member of the general public, pubic public, lower areas. And the have-nots, the lower stock, as they are and were regarded. So, we are looking to start and establish a private social order because there is a desperate need for some kind of order before the whole shithouse goes up in flames. And we're trying to say we'd like to start this in our own streets, in our own communities, villages, and cities. We'd like to nominate, all to step up as your street or village or city trustee and protector. We're going to look at making an international network of sovereignty and security. We would like to start our cooperation and move fully independently and privately to remain in this system and resist the forces, the force of law, the force of, the duties and obligations, the common law duties and obligations, the charges that you receive in the public could be set off in the private with the knowledge that we have between us and the evidence that we found. So we are commingling jurisdictions, so public and private liabilities and obviously debts, as it's known, but we're all bankrupt to some extent in a commercial sense, but in a private sense, we're richer than we could ever imagine. It's just the way that it boils down to how you see it. So we would like to build upon that. I'm close to Birmingham. Birmingham's a massive city and it's multicultural. I'm appealing to people all the time. We've said we'd like to join up with others, and others, if any others are doing this or there is a model out there for this, then we would like to join and emulate that and start a directory and help others as best as we can, because you do unto others, you do for yourself, as the teachings are there. So I think Birmingham is one of I know Birmingham is one of the biggest cities I've ever been to, and it's got a lot of potential there. So I think with the good that goes off in the churches and the community, the mosques and all the other places that the people religiously congregate, I think that we could, if I'm not saying give us money or donations, but I'm saying we can try and template things that can be streamlined in every city, because if you've travelled the world, you will find that it's the same old in most of the countries, Europe, Mediterranean, Greece. I'm not sure Scandinavia, Norway, and Stockholm and places, but where I've been in Europe and the Mediterranean, it's just the same as here. America, just the same as here, just different land masses, different language, different currency. But other than that, it's pretty much a scandal everywhere. It's copied, it's emulated.
I would say that we have been coming quite far here in Sweden, in that area that I'm living in here on the southern part of Sweden. And here we've been starting up these local food clubs that is selling lenses, beans, all this dry food that you can store for a long time. And they are really good quality, good price, and we have our own sort of money also there that we can change within the society. We can actually go down to a restaurant there and we can pay with this new money. Then the restaurant is going up to the shop and then he's buying his stuffs from us, lenses, things like that, and he pay with his new currency. that we call fairies because it's fair payment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could implement tokens. We can implement private tokens or some kind of yeah. So if you when I say in my mind, okay, not in reality, we've got 5,000 in our domain that are willing to give an hour a week, or maybe an hour a month, but an hour a week would be great. 20,000 hours a month, 5,000 hours, and then if you put an hour in, you'd perhaps get a token to say you've got one of these, per hour you give, and you can save them up and exchange them within the community. You might need a boiler service. You might have a leaking stop tap. You might have a MOT due and want a car serviced, and you don't want to pay it. So we can, and you got a token. Oh well, okay. Well, we can do an IOU. We'll do this. You've now got to give 2 hours to your community. I'll change your oil filters. I'll drop your oil. I'll change your air filters. I'll MOT prep your car for a professional garage. Not that we need MOT. I'm not getting into that politics, but just keep it simple. We've got to start incrementally. We're not going to bring it down in a day, but then we would use those kind of ideas and manage them between us. Like that, yeah. I like that, Anders. I've just put a link into the chat room that I shared today. It's on a channel called I Rise, and it's called The Veil Has Dropped, and I'd like you to listen to that 2 minutes 10 of his lyrics there. I've never seen anything as stunning and as creative and as beautiful as that. It had eight views 6 hours ago. It's now at 62 views, and I believe it needs close to 1 million, to be fair. I think the iRise isn't the guy on the channel. The video you're going to see, or if you search for iRise and the channel, the video is called The Veil Has Dropped. This guy's lyrics are second to none. So if you check that link, or you look around and you see me post it, or you follow that link, I'd like you to listen to that. And if you agree, then I'd like you to thumb up it. I've got no connection with iRise or the man on this video, but I'd like you to consider watching that and commenting, and a shout going out to Taylor and Carol that have commented since we've shared it, and it's gone from 8 views to 62. It's a 3-month-old video, and shout going out to iRise and whoever that lyrical assassin, that lyrical genius is. All right, the link's there in the chat. Kevin's disappeared. What have we done with him?
I haven't disappeared. Yeah, I've just nipped down. And just left the gimp out for me, so I just went down on a bit of a fondle, and it's all good.
We put it back.
No, I'm moved over by the back door, so I turned the camera off because you won't be able to see me anyway. And then I was just being polite and turning my mic off.
That's what I was just checking. I could only see 3 on the tube, but then when I pressed the play,
I'm still here, mate. I haven't gone anywhere.
Yeah. Good.
But I don't know. Shouldn't we make a sort of video or something when we speaking with the Swedish society?
Oh, here we go. Swedish videos. I knew he was.
No, not Swedish video. It's going to be English subtitles on it.
You don't need subtitles for them videos, Anders.
My washing machine's broken down.
Have a look at the chat room then. I'm
just going to give a bit of news. It's been a long time. One of my mates, and one of my best mates, to be honest with you, Mike Barnes, been helping him out for a while since his father passed away, and anyway, we've been having nightmares with this management company that manage where Mike lives, and to our benefit, they are incompetent at a whole new level. I mean, unbelievable, these people. I've never come across anything like it. Really, they shouldn't be managing anything apart from managing to breathe. But anyway, so it's been going on probably 5 years from start to finish. We had some issues with them at the first, and anyway, then Mike's had a load of work and that done recently. Bearing in mind they've not done anything in this property that they're meant to be managing for the best part of 50 years. All that turned into a nightmare. A 3-week job ran virtually into 9 weeks. So, really making Mike's life a misery, and he's got enough issues of his own. So anyway, I've been knocking up documents and emails for Mike. We've been sat here and, write them down together, and then he sends them. So anyway, cut a long story short, just recently when this work had overrun, we just went in. I did this email basically saying, right, it ran over this much time. We want 70 quid a day. And if I'm honest, I certainly was thinking, well, if they come back at 35, or we're going to negotiation, if you like, but worst case, 35 would achieve what we needed to achieve, 35 quid a day. Anyway, we put this email plus other stuff we covered. It wasn't just give us money, it was for this, we're coming after you for this, want compensation, really. And we sent the email on a Thursday. I'm sure it was a Thursday afternoon. And I think it was less than 24 hours. They just came back, and there's me all ready for a fight. And they just came back and went, yeah, okay. So, yeah, it was, I'm not going to mention any figures ultimately. I don't think it's appropriate. But Mike got a fair return, which has sort of helped him out tremendously, as in it's lessened debt, basically. But these people are just a whole new level. When that answer came back so quick, me and Mike had a laugh the other day. It was like, should have got in at 150.
Result.
But,
well done.
Really good result. Say it's been a long time coming, but these people are just beyond incompetent, and we've, sent them around in circles forever. And then finally forced them to come in and do all this work, and then that all turned out to be shoddy. I mean, the bloke that came to hang the lining paper, first thing he said when he walks in, "Oh, I'm not very good at that." I mean, you imagine going on a job, you just price go, actually, I haven't really done this before. So it's just been it's just errors, but you've had to laugh about it, but it hasn't really been much fun for Mike. And so we've got something back, and then there's been other issues there, other residents causing Mike a lot of grief. Fair, relative, bear in mind Mike's been at this place virtually 50 years, if not over. So, and the troubles all sort of started in the last 4 or 5 years with a little gang of residents in the adjacent block, shall we say, culminating in threats to Mike the other day. One of which was, "I'm going to bleach your skin." And this is from a person of colour. I'm saying, just putting it out there. Amongst other threats. Unfortunately, the guy didn't realise that he was being filmed full frontal, and he'd come across, he must have come 40, 50, 60 feet across to Mike. So really nasty pieces of shit, Don't need people like that around anywhere. I don't care what colour you are, but just such a bizarre thing for someone like to say. So, there's still ongoing issues. So we've then done another sort of email going, right, now this that situation has turned criminal, backed up by the old bill, basically. So now we're carrying on accounting dispute, withholding everything until you actually do something. This has been reported to them for at least 4 years, probably over that now. Loads of reports of harassment, the bullshit they do, and all that. And this management agent's done nothing at all. In fact, Mike would then phone up a few days later, maybe, and go, "Oh, is there anything being done about what happened here?" And they go, "Don't know what you're talking about." So it was like, it wasn't even on the file or anything. It's ridiculous. So yeah, we've gone back in with if you don't do anything now, absolute affirmative action, then we're coming after you for Conto. Don't feel safe living here, shouldn't be living like this, can't even go out my own house. So we didn't get an instant reply to that one yet, but yeah, and yeah, so it's been a longish road, but things worked out well in Mike's favour. And just I think he's still in the room. Thanks for the gift, mate, the other day. Much appreciated, as I said to you. So onwards and upwards. So that's sort of one of the things I've not been taking up my time, but sort of running in the background, if you like, constantly for quite a long time. So yeah, he's had a good little touch there. So I was pleased, but yeah, I was a bit like bollocks when they folded so quick. Well, yeah, I should have got him for more, but we got twice what we wanted. So let's not be greedy. We had a result. It's all good.
Well, I say, get in there, my son. Well done. Get some results straight. How long was it before they got back to you? Did you say?
When we put the email in about basically said it's run over this long, blah blah blah, and we had a moan up about those stuff. Said, so we want 70 quid a day. We had a response back and no, because I'm expecting a fight to start.
Yeah, naturally.
And it didn't. They just went, okay, within 24 hours. Michael confirmed that within 24 hours, they'd just gone, okay, we'll do this, we'll do this, we'll do this. Right, brilliant. So, but yeah, response on that one, instant. That's why I say it was like, shit, should have asked for twice as much. Because they just caved him instantly. But we've had them over a barrel for a long, long, long time. Right since his father died, basically, because Mike's got a succession tenancy. His dad was in that flat in 1963. Okay. So Mike was born there, been there virtually all his life. A few times he's been out and lived elsewhere, but he ended up going back really because of his dad. He wasn't well, the old chap, young'un, as he used to call everybody. But yeah, it's just nice to get a little result like that, So it was just so easy, and I wasn't expecting it. I went, right, let's see what the result is. I'll be writing, we'll be negotiating next week. But we even said to him, we're more than happy to negotiate. Put it in the email. Even put it in the email. And the other thing we put in there, which is one of mine's favourite sentences, is, as a gesture of goodwill, because that's what they keep saying to us in letters, a gesture of good. So I said, as a gesture of goodwill, we're not going to charge you for the weekends, just like 5 days a week that ran over. That's all we're going to charge, but not for the weekends. So there was some consideration included in the offer, but yeah, less than 24 hours, bang, yeah, fine. But there's still lots of issues there. The really important ones, Mike's safety and that, haven't been addressed. So we've moved on to that now that everything's on the other side's all done really for the moment anyway. So yeah, it's all good. I've got other stuff to tell you, DWP stuff. I mean, there's a lot of that still going on in the background with people. I've got some people. Luckily, I'm dealing with people with brains. Makes my life a lot easier. I was dealing with somebody who then some information came to me via David, funnily enough, and I didn't realise this person had been sort of about before and caused a bit of a ruckus. But anyway, I kept being told, oh, I've followed you for 3-4 years and everything you say. But then they went and refused an assessment. So they can't have been listening that well. And it's caused lots of ag and then, so I haven't spoken about that. That's just a nightmare. I've given, I'd say 25, 30 plus hours on the phone to this person. So, yeah, I mean, I told her what to do and I said, get back to me, and I've heard nothing. So, but some people just claim they listen, but don't, So that was a bit frustrating, but it's nothing to do with any actions by me. But yeah, I was a little bit exhausted at the end of the year and a little bit into this year. Been up and down a bit with my mood, but I'm keeping on top of it. But it has been sort of, it's been quite well controlled, is the word I'm going to use. I've controlled it quite well for quite a lot of time. And I felt it was overwhelming me slightly just recently, but I've still kept a lid on it, so which is good. But I just had to take a step back. I was just mentally exhausted.
It sounds like you need a booster shoot.
Yeah, that's what I need. Yeah, little COVID shot.
Yeah.
Keep it going. So yeah, that's really DWP stuff. I'm helping a few people with, but as I say, people with brains, they phone me up. I've heard this. I said, do that, and then off they go and do it. Let me know what they do next. That's the sort of situation. But you can trust these people. They just that's what I've written. Is it okay? Yeah, brilliant. Send it. I like that sort of interaction. As I say, everything's out there. There's nothing new for us to bring you with regards to the assessment and what's going on and how to deal with it. There's nothing new at this time. So, there's nothing for me to tell. Everything's in the videos. The most recent 2 or 3 videos David and I did, it's got everything in there you need. So I don't mind, doesn't all have to be assessment. I don't mind giving people a bit of direction. So there you have it. That's what I've been doing.
What have Albert been up to?
Wine, women, and song, I bet.
No, it's servitude. Servitude getting in the way of life a bit, while helping others, really, sharing the knowledge and whatever. So, had a few wins with Ealing Council, and they've set up a camera. So, realistically, it's a bit of entrapment. But I think the councils are all doing it. Closing roads, no right turn here, restricting the street at certain times. When you break that, you got a penalty charge there. Yeah, it's ridiculous, travelling around. We've lost our inherent rights along the way, and we've been sleeping on our laurels too much. And they've just took advantage. So it's time to give it to them, So I've been watching very closely, been over Peacekeepers. They're doing good work over there, to be honest with you. And they are setting up communities like David was on about, similar stuff, So I got to pay respect to them because there's quite a few knowledgeable people over there making a stamp and standing their ground, and respect to them for doing it, you know, because the more of us that do stand up, you know, and ask questions, and as king, you know, asking, like, it needs to be done. So I think I can't help but think when we're going to these councils, they're just agencies for the masters at the top, realistically, and those are the ones we need to get rid of. So yeah.
Local authorities, they call themselves, don't they? Which is an extension of the administration seated in London. So yeah, you're right there. Everything, most things are an agency. Yeah.
Well, I've even asked certain things, like, because there's been spoken of memorandum of entry, memorandum of conviction, that kind of thing. I've done a few freedom of requests. Even when it comes to councils, can they really go bankrupt? Well, it seems that they have to file for it, and it's basically that they're seeking help, but that's all it is, really. So they get more funds if they do that.
Don't repair the roads, take the monies, and yeah, it's rubbish. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, lining their own pockets while everything else falls apart, and they think they're so blind we can't see it all. Yeah.
If the white
Proper
van man
taking the piss.
moved, what was that?
They're proper taking the piss now. It's so blatant, isn't it? It's outrageous, really. Especially when you understand everything like we all do with there is no money, etc., etc. So it's all going on the national debt, never to be paid off.
Yeah,
Just
but even is
ridiculous.
there a national debt? Because if you think about it, they can wipe stuff out, they can clear stuff off, they can do certain things. I know someone superior to them is out there, you know. So
absolutely,
there's
somebody
plenty
could
of
just go.
skullduggery going on. Yeah.
But listen, at the end of the day, we know the people in charge of all that money could basically go, right, let's zero the lot. It ain't going to affect them at all. Nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's why
And
you
then,
get
right, let's
guys
start
settling
again.
debts. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Settle the debt, like, oh, we'll give you this much discount. Yeah, well, that's how much it cost you to borrow it in the first place, wasn't it? From the broker.
Yeah. Oh, mate, funny. Yeah, who was it I was speaking to the other day saying they've had an offer of from a DCA of a 70% reduction. Just makes me laugh. Lisa.
That's when you know they ain't got no right to it. Third party interlopers.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Lisa, I was just thinking about you and James only yesterday, and I was thinking about how I could contact you, not via apps. So I just see that how you were doing. I hope everything's all right. Great to see you. Been a while. Sorry, everybody. I just it was just weird because I was thinking about Lisa and James just yesterday.
That's all right. Hello to them too. I hope all is well up in the northern parts there. Oof, it's cold here.
Yeah,
5-0.
Yeah, what are they at? Oh, what's the weather like? Cold, I bet. Oh, proper cold. There's me whinging about -5 tonight.
What's your pantry like? I'd like to see these pantries that they have up there with their supplies and not
mate.
Lisa into any pantry. Yeah, I like the lifestyle up there, and there's a couple of shows on the channels on TV that comes with Freeboo channels. I was watching some Alaskan. I like the fishing one, extreme fishing, where they go on the trawlers and just looking at how they fish and the life on boats and stuff. And yeah, the Alaskan. I don't know what it's called, Frontier, I suppose. Pioneerings and how they get on, and there's a lot of UFO alien stuff up there as well. Actually, it's kind of a hot spot as well for alleged visitations or
That's Lisa and James.
unidentified
They've got
UAP.
drones.
But yeah, you know, people say, why are you so interested in money, in the dollar? What does the dollar have to do with the English pound? You know, America's finances, David, are nothing to do with England at all. And we find that the reserve currency for the pound may well be the dollar. You know, we find that the United Kingdom of Great Britain Corporation is listed as a business, and it's also registered on the Securities Exchange Commission, you know, which then entwines us into the uniform commercial codes and certain things that are running with regards to contracts and contractual obligations and offers and courts and rights and reservation. And yeah, what's actually going on isn't what it looks like, honourable and all to do and law on the face of it. Underneath it, it's securities, instruments, securitization. You know, securitized security without any kind of freedom or liberties, as it was previously known, is basically just like a prison, really. You're secure, but you've got no rights. You might as well be locked up. So the money side of it, the intrinsic value, the value of it, the true currency, you know, bonds and stuff. It's no wonder we're all confused. Let me segue onto this, splinter off. When we go into etymology, as well as the pound and the dollar and the currencies and money and credits and all of this, we look at bonds, securities instruments, and bonded. You know, the word bond in the dictionaries has got several meanings. It can mean glue. It can mean, you know, to adhesion together. A baby, when it is born of its mum, is bonding with mum for a period of time. So it's down with humans, emotions and certain things like that. What else does bond mean? Financial, in constitution language, it means a bonded instrument, bonded slaves, bonded indentured slaves, etc. So bonded, you know, glue, bonding baby, bond financial, any other definitions and implied meanings of bonds, throw them in. So I'm explaining to Yanka, whose mother tongue is Hungarian, which is speaking English well and learning French at school, and also interested in Korean. So that girl's head at 16 has got a lot of pronouns, verbs, adjectives, and so forth going off, and she's dealing with a lot, and she's doing well. I have to explain to her that, you know, don't feel bad of yourself sometimes. She comes and asks me questions about English language. Hello, we're still on? What's going on? Yeah, it seems to be. And
Yeah,
I explained to her that it's easily, I get confused. English people get confused with the language. It's not as easy to understand as it is. And when you have a language that has one word that means 3 or 4 things, it's not until you see that in the context, a written context, or until you hear the full sentence, that you can apply the word bond to its meaning with the context. What? I'm mobile at the minute, but I'll stop that.
Oh, I just had some weirdness then. It's just
I'll
like
go in
we'd
and check.
started the recording again. Weird.
Are we still on Tube?
No, it says splspro.com.
Yeah, I'm on.
I
That's all
can't
right. Yeah,
tell.
that's all right.
Yeah.
I think we are. The language being debased, you know, it used to primarily be Latin, Francais, things like that, and it was the lower stock, the commoners, as they were called and known, as we are known, that spoke English and Babel. And the removal of the Latin in the English has left us with a debased language. And, you know, my word is my bond. There's the 4th meaning of that I've given you now. So your word is your bond. I'm as good as my word. I give you my word is my bond. You can hold me to that. Verbal agreements, verbal contracts, express trusts, private express trusts, you know, words and bonds. So the language in itself and the financial is not clear and transparent at all. And when you mix up language such as that in your subconscious and your brain, you're left with just a confused populace that doesn't actually know what's what. And, you know, it could be a lot simpler. If you look at other countries and their languages, they're not perfect, but they're a lot better than ours. And the financial sector should be clear and transparent, but it's far from being so. I'll have to go in and check the chat. But I bring our last is biking as well. We're in the morning. That's what I'm doing presently. Let's have a look. We're all there. Yeah, it's working well. Can any of you see the room? Is there anything else you want to talk about or discuss? Ideas? What's going on in the chat room?
I'm just going to see it. Oh, your mum's all right, Lisa. You never stop. Don't know how you do it.
That's it. Family comes first. People at work were on about, somebody at work was on about having to have time off to look after their mum for operations and stuff, and worrying about absences and, you know, circumstances, and coming to me to have a chat, talking about how things are, and, you know, not having holiday days left and needing to manage life, family, work, and etc. And ended up the conversation by saying, well, family comes first before jobs. You get a job anytime, get employment, you can earn a living in many ways, but family, you know, they're irreplaceable. Bottom line, don't matter about the discipline and the sanctions and the whatever's coming, you know, HR meeting reviews, absence reviews, points, and going through the tick box exercises. We've got a lot of potential before us. We've got a lot we can do ourselves independently and privately on a social and community level. I'd like us to consider how we would do so. We're going to strengthen the ties that we have and make new ones as well, and look at options that we've got. The Sovereign Project, and was it Pete Stone and I think Georgina. I met them at the talks that we did in Leicester in late November. They seem to be on it. You know, Albert's just mentioned a group there, an organisation, the Peacekeepers, doing a bit. I've never seen so many independent, you know, organisations, movements, factions set up and wanting to do things. Sovereign empowerment, the Sovereign Project. There's two sovereign, you know, people, organisations that have introduced themselves and made themselves aware. There's lots of independent areas that are, you know, community. England, Britain is trying to plug the leaks themselves, which is endearing and heartwarming to see. There's a lot out there doing a lot of good.
Well, the Peacekeepers, and like they've done the knock challenge for council tax. I don't know how well it's going yet, because obviously it's a slow process. What, you know, when they send summons and stuff like that, and it's a learning curve for everyone, really. And then they've got the court auditors. So the court auditors is basically, I've not done any of the courses, my knowledge and whatever, and I'm that deep in council tax that I just, you know, I protect my home, I protect my house. My house is in order, so I don't worry much nowadays. So, but they are doing good work, yeah. So, just like to say, you know,
I've heard of such things, of these audits. There is a few groups, some that are close to us that we're in touch with as well. Tricky Bricky has got some stuff going off with it. W4 1099 sandwich regarding audits and things and how they're going. It's new to me. It's a foreign concept, but it seems to tangibly string together. And yeah, like you say, it's a process. It's not simple. It's not clear cut. It requires quite a lot of work and admin, but it's a bit different to what we know of with regards to common law duties, obligations, proofs, burdens, honour, clean hands, conditional acceptance, etc. Fault, default. We've gone down a little bit of a rabbit hole to get to where we've got to look at the jurisdictions and look at the situation, the claims themselves, and see if they have any merit, standing, validity, and etc. But there seems to be others that are out there that have, picked up on this. And I did say about my knowledge from various domains and Winston Shrout in 1099, and he wasn't. I don't know what he was doing. I couldn't say concisely, but I don't think it went well. But others have had results. Kevin and I spoke to the Spaniard privately from White Rabbit Trust, and most of you will know who Simon Spaniard is. You and your cash, etc., and they're on with similar types of things there as well. So I'm not going to say too much, but he's made certain things public and known to us, and that was an interesting chat. We'll try and get him on for a podcast with us and promote and see and get him to explain a bit more of what they're doing there and how they're doing it. But it did drop into the conversation that it's some kind of audit with regards to Tricky Bricky, and the information that I got off him after me and Kevin spoke to Spaniard. So we're trying, and we're asking people if they want to link up, if they want to share resources, if they want to join our cooperative and private union and etc. So we're always open, we're always trying, and successes can come in many shapes and forms. You may not win the war, but you might win the battles. Each battle incremental to you winning your rights back. The war itself, we're all in this as each individual, soul, but we're in it collectively as well, aren't we? So. Interesting, Albert, is all I'm going to say. And if anybody in the chat room has knowledge and information.
Yeah. But for me, I think, as we know, you stand in the name. That name is for commercial transactions. So as soon as you start mentioning that, there's other stuff going off in the background. So it's a hard one to get away from, especially with council tax and the likes of, So it's a space to be watched, and it's it's progress, holding them to account and asking them for the obligation. Are they obligated? Are we all obligated to even act in commerce and be out there, stand under the name? Yeah.
Oh, when we get to the age of 18 and we're enrolled into what did Greg call it today? The forced labour camp known as the United Kingdom of Great Britain, where you have no option but to be forced into it, even though we've got modern day anti-slavery laws and etc. They seem to have found a perfect workaround to categorise us all as legal persons and hold us accountable and liable for the charges given to your person. And you're assumed and presumed in that way when we try to constructively, coherently and concisely put out that we are a party and we are not the named person, but we have the person with us, then it all gets a little bit tricky. And when you're in a magistrate, you often find they don't have the acumen. They don't understand the nuances, or they're ignorant to it. I would say that they are ignorant and they are ill-educated, because it's just an administrative process. It isn't common law of England and Wales, even though legislative arm of the government, statutory arm, Westminster, mandated upon your person by default, assumption and presumption. That's where we tie into the state of correction and notifying the state, Home Office, generals, secretaries, ministers, etc., that we require we've entrusted our estate to some other trustees, so we are not in control of anything. We're managing effectively estate management. We need to undo the damage that's been done by assumption and presumption.
Absolutely.
It's the high court,
Yeah.
high court areas. The what would you call it? The arbitratory division of high courts is where you. And again, it needs to be done in the private. You can't go into a magistrate and publicly try to use private remedies. You can do that in your paperwork, and you can argue, and you can refer them to the paperwork, and you can listen to what the magistrates say, presiding and rule, and how they judge and how they will sentence, etc. But then you've got the right, no judge's decision is final, and you can always have that decision looked at again by that judge, and also on appeal as an appellant in the Supreme Courts. And we've also got international criminal courts and with the Hague, etc. And we between us all have quite brilliantly articulated from biblical Mosaic law into secular Roman law and into universal natural law. And we've put down, quoting their own terms and definitions and codes and interpretations and acts and so forth, everything that we need to hold this stance as life essence incarnate, Genesis, where it says God breathing the breath of life into Adam and Adam became a living soul. No, I'm not a free man. I'm not a sovereign citizen. If you cast your mind back to we'll go 1611 KJV as its crown copyright and the fundamental basis of all the UK administrative law of the Law Society, that book there that you asked me to swear an oath on and that is distributed with crown copyright, says it there in that own book. How dare you, unless you've got evidence that I'm a free man on the land or a sovereign citizen, I ask you to strike that from the record. I require the proof of your claim. I'm here today by divine appearance as a living soul, and call me whatever you want, but the facts of the matter remain. So, again, you can't argue all of this verbally in front of a magistrate. You need documentation and paperwork and, things set up in as you say, in your house, get your house in order. And, we look at the language, the Black's Law Dictionary, the Collins, the Oxford, the Cambridge, the Ecclesia, the Latin. We look at the interpretations of the Birth, Deaths and Marriages Act, and we find out that the what does it say at the bottom there on the video? Inclusive OS, ulterius. I forget. Yeah, it says there in that Birth, Deaths and Marriages that the word birth includes stillbirth.
Yeah.
A person is a legal entity. And we have persons to use as our agents in commerce in amongst this mercantile, the law merchant.
Can I jump in just one sec?
Yeah, go on.
Dave. Because Bernie's sent me a message. Listen, mate, I'm glad you're all right. I was getting quite concerned. Dave Vitelli, I've said, has anybody heard from him? I've sent you some messages. But I'm just glad you're all right, mate. I could really do. Yeah, I'll speak to you. I'll either message you, but it will be probably Tuesday or something. I've got dentist bloody first thing in the morning, so Monday's cancelled tomorrow.
You got a dentist? You lucky bastard.
Yeah, I think I'll get about 6 months off once I've had this it's only a little fill-in, half-hour sesh. So that's about it, really. I've just had some major stuff done recently, mind you. But anyway, good to see you all right, mate. Honestly, I was getting concerned. But yes, I've got something I'd like you to have a look at some point, but I'll contact you this week. No worries. Just glad you're all right, mate. I was getting worried. I hope everything is all right too, mate.
Yeah, you was. Well, I said we'd message him and get in touch and give him a nudge. He'd said you tried and there hadn't been any response. So yeah, it's good to hear from you, Bernie. I'll go on, brethren.
Yeah, I've just seen a couple of comments in there. Yeah, sovereign citizen. It is an oxymoron. You're one or the other. Simple as that. You're either sovereign or you're a citizen. You can't be both. Yeah, I think it's almost instant arrest from what I've been watching fairly recently in the States. As soon as you say you're a sovereign citizen, you straight in the back of the car. That's where you're going. But it is the contradiction in terms.
The rule, yeah, and so is statements such as the rule of law. We have rules, and then we have law. Rules are there kind of to be broken. Laws shouldn't be broken, but then when you speak of law, what law do you speak of? So then there's the various aspects, and there's jurisprudence, jurisdictions of law. And these are the things, like I said, with the language and the debasing of the language and the word bond. This is just one example. There is hundreds, if not thousands, of the words in the UK language which confuse and are designed to confuse. But then there is statements put out such as rule of law, sovereign citizen, yeah, oxymoronic statements. So we have to recognise that. We have to recognise and choose each word very carefully.
Indeed.
Back it all up.
Choose your sword.
Yeah, just don't fall on it.
Yeah.
I'm back in the room. I'm scanning. I'm just having a look. See what's
Yeah,
going on.
big love. Yeah, Jerry, sorry, Bernie, I thought that, to be honest with you, I was talking with Graham and I sort of thought that was the case. But anyway, I'm just glad you're all right. I was, to be honest with you, I didn't harass you over anything, but I just thought that's a bit odd. And then I had to start thinking, have I said anything to upset him? Or maybe it's because he hasn't heard from me for a while. But it's all good, mate. It's all good. I'll catch up with you. I've got one thing I think to send over to you to have a look at if you've got some time. It would be helpful, something that Graham's constructed. But I'll talk to you about that. But no, just really glad you're all right. Honestly, mate, so pleased. JJ, no, I can't remember what they call it. It's a white type thing, but it's not some sort of composite stuff. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. I was the top one done with it. A couple of months ago, I think. Maybe not that long. But yeah, I just got a little one on the side that I've done. Got to keep hold of the teeth I've got, mate. They haven't got to last too much longer.
Yeah, I'm going abroad to get treatment. Our lass has given me VIP treatment with regards to introducing me to her dentist, and I've been abroad and I'm going back in late April and a couple of weeks, first 2 weeks of May, to go and get 3 teeth hopefully drilled in. I'm wearing like a little bridge at the minute, so yeah, that's a little bit uncomfortable, but I'm looking forward to getting the 3 front teeth sorted back out, but cheaper, better, quicker than what we have here. So again, it's a mockery to some extent, but those that aren't fortunate enough to be able to travel and go abroad and seek services elsewhere and do things privately and forced to use the NHS, then you're at the mercy. You really are.
Yeah, I've been lucky around here. The last dentist decided to go private during COVID. So like was just, yeah. Oh, here's a letter. By the way, we're now private only. There's a retainer of something like 20 quid a month and all that. But found another one local. Thought it was going to be a huge wait, and it was like a fortnight from when I registered and then went in for an appointment. So I thought that was pretty good. And then I can't believe how quick they are now. It's not like, oh yeah, come back in a month. No, can you get in 7 days or even earlier? We'll do this. They're just on it. But I imagine they're churning through patients. This place has got it's got at least 5 rooms downstairs, and then there's an upstairs as well. I don't know how many are up there. So you've got a couple of people, the dentist and a technician or whatever in each room. They've probably got hygienists and all that, so they must be ploughing through patients each day.
I want to read some of the comments in the room here to Peter, son of Edros. If you're speaking English, you're talking and yeah, I just paraphrase. I'm actually speaking my mother's tongue. It's mum that learns this language, the common tongue, whatever, mother's tongue as it is. English, you know, you've got eases, as we know of legal ease. So when we look at languages and we are cross-examining languages, we've got issues, we've got eases, legal, Portuguese, Chinese, legalese. So there's a little rhyme there, I'm sure, but we won't say it. School old playground rhyme. English, yeah, Swedish. So yeah, it's just, it's a sticky little situation that we need to establish. Yeah, for the purposes of clarity and the avoidances of doubt, we are commanding speaking the English, plain English, if you want, English language. Do not convert it into legalese. It is not legalese, you know, and that's the issue with regards to that. And I thank you for your comment, because, you know, it's worthy of re-mentioning. And for Lisa, she's mentioned that she's had a severe fall on the 1st of Jan, busted wrist, ribs, and banged her brain holder big time, healing up with homemade remedies. The ice storms made everything a skating rink. So I am sorry to hear that, and we all send you our love and regards and wishes, and I'm sure that you'll be looked after by your man there. And we have mentioned previously that it's good to consider making provisions for time in the future where you may not be competent to do so, coherent to do so. Compos mentis is what it's known in the legal realm. So they're not the strongest form of a trust that one can express, but a last will and testament is something that you would be urged to look at. And it would be beneficial for you to also look at the assigned powers of attorney. We have assumptions and presumptions. I do believe we've covered the canons, Roman canons. What are they now? The assumptions and presumptions of the court. We've looked at probate. We've looked at the language, pro se cutor, from the skin, you know, cut from the skin, in your own skin, save your skin. Natural persons, legal persons, natural man, you know, and probate for the pro se cutor. And looking at probate laws, wills and intestacy, and wills and probate laws, rules, regulations, tax, loopholes, inheritance. We've pretty much covered most of this, but that's exactly the situation that I have used as an example. And I'm sorry that you're the object of this and this has happened to you, but I would like just to say that, you know, this is it. We don't know what's happening in the future. We don't know what's around the corner with our health, and it just takes something like a little slip, you know, a momentary lapse, an unforeseen accident where you could, if you didn't have anybody, any help or whatever, you could end up, if you didn't have any family and you hadn't made any provisions, then in England, in the United Kingdom, the state steps in and they would take control of your affairs, your estate, the management. You know, if you haven't put anything into play, then who has got authority over you now? If you're incapacitated, who's making decisions for you? If you haven't expressed your will, your intent, your wishes, if you haven't, well, you'd argue then, David, you've just sealed yourself up into a dead end, because how would you make a will and testament or powers of attorney if you had no family? Well, I'm glad you asked, because we can actually step in as a community, as a trusted social order, as a cooperative. All right, people argue that the word community comes from communism and it's not some, but then when you speak in plain English, and commune, you have communes in the church, you know, you have communism, you have communities, yeah, we can get into that later, but the point being that for those that feel left out and isolated because for some reason the particulars of happenstance, you know, of state are that they are elderly or alone and they have no family, they may be adopted, they might not know who the family are, they may have gone out. There's a multitude of reasons. So we also look to, when we say we would like to provide a universal non-sectarian remedy for all creeds, genders, races, souls, then these are the types of things that we urge you to look at, and for the reasons of which we've said, and others of which we haven't. But it doesn't take long, and you don't need a barrister, a solicitor, an attorney to effect a valid will or a last will and testament. There were a few types: irrevocable, revocable, living, last will and testament, codicils, powers of attorney. So we can help you. And with what we're saying today, with the title of the show, community, social, cooperatives, and social community trust, basically, part of being a charitable trust is that we give our information to YouTube, to the public domain. We share information. We don't sell anything. We don't ask you to pay for anything. We don't hide things between paywalls. And we have annual general meetings, and we have additional to them. We will go on tour, if you like, and we will travel and invite you to come for no charge again, and to come and visit, and to connect, and to network with us, and to join and support our movement. So that's a great example. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, Lisa, for everything, but it just goes to show you, we had Nonna Yomas from Scotland who was with us some years, and it happens that it was 6 months before she exited this realm. She did write a last will and testament and assign powers of attorney, and 6 months after doing so, she ended up in hospital with a lung infection, and sadly didn't make it, and ended up passing. So again, that instrument executed as a deed came into effect and was recognized by the council. It was recognized by anybody in an official legal office, and it was effective, and it looked after the daughter and the son in many ways. So again, it doesn't need a lot of money or time. It's not the strongest form of a trust, but it's a start, and it's a stepping stone into this language, this equity, trust and equity, equity and trust law. Then that's I hope that's an eye opener. And if you need help, then you know where to find us. I shall type it in the room now. I need to contact Maria and see how she is actually, Kevin. I still haven't done that. Andy, I need to get in touch with Andy.
I sent Maria a message. I think it was just before Christmas, but no response at all. I think I was probably, as I say, I don't have notifications, so unless I go into certain things, I don't know who's trying to contact me. Because I say, I made the mistake of leaving them notifications on, and the phone just never shuts up, so I turned them all off. So yeah, there was a bit of a delay. I don't think it was too long, but as I say, relatively recently, last few weeks, I've responded and I haven't heard anything. So I was going to say, see if you can give it a go, or
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, we'll give a nudge. We've got to get in touch with Andy up in Shaky Wakey. He's in mountains, and he's giving me an update there. And wow, yeah, man's doing a lot of good work.
Yeah, fair play to him.
Mitch, I've just seen your tag there. Please let Barnster know which dentist you will use in Hungary. We need to go within the next 3 months. I will do. Michelle, I believe that is. I will forward that on by all means. It depends on what day you go, but if you go onto the airlines, you can see the prices for the day. So you can get tickets for about 70, 80 pounds one way. So with the taxes and the baggage and the priority and the check, you know how it is when it looks cheap, but by the time you finish selecting your seat, getting your baggage sorted and that, it's about 200, 250 all round. So if you're going for a weekend and you arrange some, yeah, we'll see, getting details, but it shouldn't be this way. Man, if you are paying into again, much like what we said at the beginning of the chat with the social contract for us giving up the right to bear arms. You're paying into a system and the system is not providing, then what are we paying in for? If there aren't going to, if there's pension deficit and a healthcare deficit, and nurses and doctors and dentists and GPs are leaving their services and going abroad for better paid jobs, or they're going private and opening up private practices, as Kevin has pointed out, as you're reporting, then they've been trained by the public purse, and they should be made to serve in that capacity for an amount of time to recoup what the public purse has invested in them. Yeah, and those that are less abled and in social care, it seems to be getting a lot worse. Nothing's getting better, is it, everybody? So hence the title of tonight's show, and what we're doing, what we're proposing, and what others are doing as well.
Got to stop this rot, mate.
Chillstar, long time no see. Deluxe, what's this? Let's put a link in for veneer, upper veneer, one size fits most all. Dear, thank you for that. We will see.
He's on a commission.
Just check the room.
Check it. Greg.
I'm looking at Chippy Paul's comments there about crypto and certain things there. Albert's the man for that, really, I think, more though than I. But it was announced by SWIFT, the current settlement system as from Feb this year, you will only be able to purchase crypto with payments of 100,000. Why would they do this? Well, we'll see. I'm not sure about that, but Bert might know more on that. He's a crypto kid.
No news to me. Yeah.
Yeah, is it?
Once you sign up with some of these brokers, they straight away want to take your cash.
Jerry, what's that about? Had a family member locked out of funds on death of a partner in marriage. Doesn't seem right, does it?
You know.
More info needed, yeah. W8, there we go, Peter Edros, W8, 4, do NG, some 1099 sandwich that they're on about with regards to audits and certain things. More info needed on that. I know there's a lot on that, but there's a lot of groups set up, so.
What a nightmare, Jerry. Fucking bastards, aren't they? Huh? Oh, sod the person, you know, that's left. These things aren't shit enough. Ah.
Have you seen places where people have et al after their name, ETAL?
Yeah.
I had an investigation into that. I've seen El Bay quite a lot from the state side, and people using El Bay after their name, but et al, Latin, shortened, and others.
Yeah.
You could have John Smith et al, or John, say John et al, John and others, John Smith et al. It's that was something I investigated the other day. I thought, what is this? People, man's consciousness, souls trying to separate. And, you know, we've done work on this with the evidence of life, essence and incarnation. So with the publications that I've got and the dialogue that we've had and the research that we've done as independent journalistic natured souls, we have found that there is a reason to be able to call ourselves, you know, essence, life and essence, evidence of life and essence. And you get into the nitty gritty of the spiritual side, and you go down with Steiner and Watts and Goddard and Blavatsky and several others. You know, where it becomes apparent that all is not as it seems. A soul, a spirit, a consciousness. They look at other cultures and how they term and view themselves and the religious aspects of it in the different cultures that they have there. in the communities and continents. It's food for thought how you want to portray yourself. You know, when somebody asked me, I think it was a police officer in quite an innocent situation, where do you live? And I said, well, that's a hard question to answer. And he said, why don't you have a home? I went, well, I live in my body. With all due respect, I'm a vessel, and I've got a spirit and a consciousness housed in this body. So with all due respect to you, I live in this body. I think your question would be, where do I reside? Or do I have a corresponding address or the address of my office? You know, I don't mean to aggravate you, but you've asked me where I live. You know, you've asked me for my full name. That was a sticking point. And I said, my full name is David. So I didn't want to get into my calling, and you know, I just wanted to appease the man. I was at a train station. I'd lost my temper and kicked something like a lamppost. Yeah, one of them. And it was some years ago now. I'm not going to tell you the particulars, but it was the last time I lost my rag, and I learned some lessons, and I had a word, and I now mentalize my emotions and keep them at bay until I let them go ahead, and you literally make me sad, happy. Happy is not really an issue, but the negative emotions I have to stop. The positives can flow all day long, but the negative ones we learn to control and mentalize. Take a moment.
Yeah.
He was very accommodating, and then there was 4 of them, and I did say to them, I feel intimidated, and it's a bit much 4 on 1. If 4 of us got onto one of you, I'm sure you'd call for backup. You know, so if you could all just go away and I'll talk to you. Then it was hard to control, and the man was. He was quite interested in what I had to say. There was no warrants or anything out for my person's arrest, and they let me go with a warning. But again, where do you live? What is your name? Easy questions to answer, really, but it depends, doesn't it?
Jog on. I committed no crime.
Public disorder in a way, some kind of public disorder, but not really. Kicked a lamppost. The lamppost is fine, and I'm all right. Crack on.
That's a civil offence, surely, isn't it?
I did
Street
not.
furniture.
I did not summon you. Yeah, who owns that lamppost? I believe it's public property. It's managed
Yeah.
by the council. It belongs to the public. Paid for, built with the public by the public purse, and etc. But just goes to show you, you know, sometimes it's best not to. If it's a simple interaction, you can often complicate things, but then it's not our fault. You know, we didn't start the fire. It has been burning since Pompeii exploded.
But what would happen if you was living home at your parents and you was kicking down all the lamps home? You should have a big wall up, you know? And that's the same out in the society also. If you're destroying something that you've been building up, your parents been building it up, except if there is a camera on top of it, you know? It's a different thing.
Yeah, mum and dad give the discipline in the home and outside. Unless there's a victim, then there is no crime. So to answer that question, the lamppost is not a victim. It was metal and it had no damage to it. And it doesn't have a soul or feelings. It's an inanimate or material object. So there was no victim. There was just perhaps an issue if I was drunk or intoxicated on drugs and carrying weapons and a warrant out for my arrest. You know, it's a public place.
Answer to those was yes to all of those.
I wish. Yeah. So, you know, we all get into situations.
I think it was warranted.
It was nearly warranted, yeah. Yeah.
Are you planning any meeting for this summer?
Yeah, we are.
I think we should, yeah.
If we could do with land and a field, and I've got a generator now that can give out a pure sine wave. Is it 5,000 kilowatts? It's got plugs, 3-pin plugs on it. It's got 12 litres petrol tank that can run for up to 10 hours continuously. So it can generate enough electric for what we need power wise.
A party.
Exactly. If we can get some land, what I'm saying is the trust has invested into this, so we can look at alternative locations rather than it being indoors. If we go for a summertime one, we get some good weather, then I'd like to recreate the Oxford first meeting that we had over the weekend.
How about the Sherwood Forest, you know? So, because I know some other guys that used to hold big parties there, and they was against the government too, you know, the rule system.
Oh,
I
really?
think it was Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not have a party there in the Sherwood Forest?
We'll look. Yeah, we will look to see. We will see who's got some ideas.
They're a bit. They crack down a bit harder these days. But I'm up for it.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be open to that. We'll promote it and ask and see what options we get given. I would like to keep the general meeting, the AGM, separate to these kind of there's like public. I'd like to invite more of the public to an event rather than the AGM being just for updating the .com, the private area, the cooperative and self-help union we have with the foundation, just splspro.com. Then we can look at supplementary meetings, extra, you know, gatherings for that, and I'll look into the forest and see. That's quite.
Look into the forest.
The study of money above all other fields in economics is one in which complexity is used to disguise truth or to evade truth, not to reveal it. John Galbraith. That's quality, that is, isn't it? Good little quote. 50,000 more people died last year than normal, with NHS delays blamed for one of the most deadly 12 months on record. Excluding the pandemic years, 2022 brought the highest excess death total since 1951, according to an analysis. There was more than 1,600 more deaths than usual during Christmas week, as long waits for ambulances, cold weather, and surging flu infections. Hey, well done to the flu coming back. Increased mortality. COVID accounts only for a minority of recent extra deaths, focusing attention on compelling evidence that the crisis in the NHS is killing hundreds of people a week. Untreated health problems, as people were urged to stay away from surgeries and hospitals during the pandemic, are also thought to be contributing to the deaths. Experts have also cited lingering after effects of COVID infection. Figures from the Office for National Statistics showed the third consecutive week of more than 1,000 excess deaths in England and Wales, and confirmed that last year one of the highest death totals in Britain was recorded. Ministers say that countries across Europe had high excess death rates last year, pointing to a big increase in flu, but others pinned the blame on the government's handling of the NHS, where there are long waits for 999 ambulances and emergency treatments in hospital. Adrian Boyle, president of the Royal College of Emergency Medicine, said that the latest death figures were shockingly high. He acknowledged it was extremely difficult to determine the causes, but pointed to studies showing the deaths rose with longer waits at A&E. This analysis indicates that an estimated 300 to 500 patients are dying per week across the UK associated with long waiting times in emergency departments, he said. This is awful, distressing, and completely unacceptable. The health system is not functioning as it should, and our priority should not be to quibble about the data, but to mitigate the harm of the crisis. And as a close down, overall, the 656,735 UK deaths last year were 51,159 above the pre-COVID 5-year average. So the figure was only exceeded in the 4 years prior to 1951, since records began 130 years ago. I'm going to leave it there. I'd like you to comment on that and tell me, what are your immediate thoughts and feelings, chat panel? Boom.
You've got to be a cunt, really. And sorry, excuse my French. If you don't know the answer to that, Christ's sake.
As real as it is, to quote my man Josh from the warehouse where I am, he's got a little saying and he says, "This is real as it is, Dave." And I like that because that's what I'm going to give to you. That's as real as it is. So when we talk about, moving to independent, to as it was before, I suppose, even nationally owned, if we could all go back to what it was pre-Thatcher and privatisation, I'm not saying it was perfect, but at least it was national, everything, wasn't it? Before the quasi-trust system got implemented and privatisation, for those that are old enough to remember this.
Never even asked us, the owners of all those utilities, did they, if we wanted to sell them off to bandits?
So yeah, because British Gas could now be completely regulated and switch from gas as it is natural gas, and the lack of it, even though wholesale European gas prices are at their record low, we could look at distributing hydrogen. They turn around and say, well, hydrogen's an extremely hard gas to manage. It's very slippy and it's hard to control, which it is, and it also implodes. But as an alternative, oxygen and hydrogen both come from water, and we could just channel them down the pipes, modify the boilers, and guess what, everyone? We just use urine, rainwater, whatever you want, any kind of water in its form would do for burning and heating.
Yeah, Lisa, you're right. Yeah, died suddenly. There's a little meme going around with a bloke clutching his chest and his missus got her hand on his back and she's on the phone just going something like, "Please, I need an ambulance. My husband's having a coincidence." Tickled me, that did, as simple as it is. But no, you're right.
Did I see something?
That's funny. Go on, mate. Sorry.
Liability. What was that? What was in the news that I caught about
the Australian?
Was it stuff. Yeah? Was it transmission? We said this, you said that.
Yeah, well, there's been a lot. I mean, that's come out in the European Parliament inquiry, isn't it? They've had them all in there, all the pharma CEOs, and they've all said it was never tested for transmission.
Sorry.
Oh, what's happening, Dave?
It's all right. Go on. We're live on Tube anyway.
Yeah, it was so that basically what it comes down to is all the lockdown shit was complete nonsense, especially the stay in, don't transmit it, have a jab, don't pass it to granny, and do your bit for the community, and all bollocks. Which obviously isn't coming out. It's easy to go and see the European Parliament. I think it's their handling of the COVID situation. There's loads of stuff that's come out. Absolute loads of stuff. And of course, now they're starting to get calls for, we want to see the contracts, because I'm pretty certain the government knew. They knew this when they signed up for it. So that's changing everything, you see. It's how much did the governments know when they signed up with this pharma stuff? What had they been in? Had they seen the 75 pages of side effects and still went ahead? This is what we need to see. We need to see the full contracts everywhere. That's what von der Leyen, is it? European, whatever she is, bitch.
Ursula.
There's lots. That's it. They're calling. They want to see. She's got some right shady dealings with all the farmer lot, and they want all that exposed now. There's the talk she was involved with So she's over the coals at the moment, but we'll see. Nobody ever seems to fucking pay a price, do they? So, yeah. Same in the States. Look what's going. I mean, it's just mental over there. Who'd have thought it? So mental over there with the Biden lot and all that being exposed. I mean, what they did to Trump, even though it all turned out to be a setup and perfectly legitimate. And believe me, I'm no fan of politicians in general. I'm just saying facts. And then Biden does the same, virtually the same thing, but in a much less secure way with documents he shouldn't have even had marked top secret and all this. He was only, what do they call it? He wasn't president, vice president, so he never hasn't got the clearance for this sort of thing. And it's almost like
it's comedy. It's comedy, the worst comedy ever.
It is such a joke. And how, the Hunter Biden stuff, all that misinformation, it's just so mad. I mean, we think, election fiddling or interference, it's just mental over there. It is an absolute farce what they can do. But I don't know. It's just the whole world is tits up. Absolutely mental. Trudeau, fucking Macron. Trudeau's proper going for it. He's proper going Castro, isn't he?
Fidel.
His dad's coming right through him now. Yeah.
Fidel baboon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Baboon.
Jesus. Yeah, baboon. Yeah. Oh, he's full on. I can't believe Canada's put up with that, but you just see everywhere's changed. Canada would have been one of the last places on earth, 20 years ago that would put up with any nonsense. Now, again, they're all taking it up the pipe quite happily, but it appears. Unreal what's going on.
Oh, I can't put the link in, it's too big. Thank you for that, Kevin. That's well appreciated. I can't put in the link. Oh, it's gone there. It's gone in. So to summarise what's come out, Checkmate, I'm reading from a website I've just put in the feed there in the chat room. Checkmate, October 21, 2022, and is investigating why the latest Pfizer revelation is not the smoking gun claimed by anti-vaccine advocates. I cast your mind back to those that may remember Piers Morgan calling the masses COVIDiots and so forth. The what was it, Sage Advisory Committee urging, telling, and yes, and the WHO as well. So
I'll tell you what else came out
from
the manufacturers, Pfizer especially, I think Moderna, certainly Pfizer. They submitted data for the COVID-19 vaccine that was dated 2017.
Oh, oops.
Hello?
Yeah.
And this is people, and what I'm reporting to you is members of the European Parliament making statements after all these meetings that have gone on with all of them and what's actually come out. So I'm not bullshitting you, it's public realm. It's amazing. It's the same's happening in the States over Fauci, another fraud. It's disgusting. But then it turns out 300 odd of our members of Parliament signed up with Big Pharma and got some nice brown envelopes. So here's where we are.
I'm on it. I've done a search. I found one site of such. I just put in what you said, parliamentary COVID handling investigation, and I found claims here and what you've said. I've put a link in for the video, so if you all search for European parliamentary hearing COVID handling, you'll find recent reports from journalistic investigators such as ourselves and this website that I'm on now. I'm not going to go through and read all of that, but it appears that it is not conspiracy theory. It's got Australia there, similarly in Australia, provisional approval, blah blah blah. So it's there, it's relevant, and there's a link there to the actual European Parliament.eu. So that's them itself, and that video is an overview, an extract from the exchange of views. EP Special Committee on the COVID-19 pandemic, and I believe we'll get it all come out in the wash then, won't it? So it's not a time to say haha we told you so, because we're all equally as worried for one another. And then this shedding business and passing on, and you know, if you're intimate with your partner and one's vaccinated and one isn't, then perhaps there could be transmissions from one to the other. You know what I'm on about. I'm not going to get gratuitous about it, but love making and etc. Unprotected, man and wife, one's vaccinated, one's not.
Yeah.
Oh, I just realised I've still got screen share on. Yeah, thank you for that, Kevin. It's yeah.
Yeah, it's quite. I say you can go and watch there's probably loads of clips on YouTube and that of them actually, you know, coming out with this is what we're told, this is what the CEO said. So yeah, the whole transmission thing was ridiculous because nothing had ever been tested. That was the proper nonsense. I mean, that's the nail in the coffin. That's the heralding of huge claims against the governments, isn't it? But so that, you know, contracts need to be shown now. What they knew when they signed up for it. And then we need some public executions. I demand nothing less.
I don't want to see anything of that. I don't want to see people going in rage, you know, want to kill people and things. I think it's better to use this zoos, you know, so you put in all these politicians and businessmen there in that zoo instead of the animals. And then you can show them, look, here we got the bankers, here we got the politicians. Don't feed them, you know, because then they're getting greedy.
Here, well said, Anders.
And then execute them.
I get quite a few emails asking me to show books or to recommend books that have helped me learn what I've learned. And when I say I escape from the craziness, and because I'm not smoking cannabis and I'm not drinking alcohol, I'm not self-medicating, I do find it hard sometimes to unwind. And there's some days where I might have 4 hours kip and I'm feeling very tired, and I've done 12 hours on a truck, or I'm teaching now. I'm now an AITT accredited mechanical handling equipment trainer for counterbalances up to 5,000 kg, powered pallet trucks, and then the very narrow aisle or man up cab V&A, man up, man down, cherry picker and scissor lift. So I'm expanding my strings, and I'm trying to get invested by the company and keep things real rather than just picking up pallets and loading lorries, tipping lorries. You know, it gets a bit mundane, and to escape and to unwind, I like to try to absorb, as you all do, and we share between one another. So as we're looking to close down in the next 20 minutes, we'll get on to the long goodbye. I'd like just to go through, there's only a few, about 10 or something, but for pure escapism and craziness, one of my favourite books of all time is called Technology of the Gods, The Incredible Sciences of the Ancients by David Hatcher Childress. And I'm not sponsored or endorsing anybody, and you know, I'm just sharing what I find interesting. And David Hatcher Childress, as well as the leading on from Chariots of the Gods by Eric von Daniken, that is an excellent read. It is really it's just fantastic, is all I can say. I'm not going to go through it all of now, but if you've seen Ancient Aliens, or you're aware of David Hatcher Childress, then say no more. You'll have seen him, and many of you will know who he is. The Philadelphia Experiment and Other UFO Conspiracies, Brad Steiger and Alfred Bielik and Sherry Hansen Steiger. That's about, in October 1943, the US Navy secretly accomplished the teleportation of a warship. Allegedly, it says here, but it's true, but Philadelphia dock near Norfolk, by successfully applying Einstein's unified field theory. You all should be familiar with that. And then there is also, the book also covers all other classified top secret CIA and NSA projects, including genetic cloning, age regression and progression, time travel, as well as the host of other topics related to the UFO cover-up. So again, a very interesting and insightful read. You can see the cover there. This guy, go on.
Didn't they come back, or when it re-emerged, there was men fused with the unit, the ship itself?
Yeah, there's films out there, there's documentaries, there's exposures, there's bunking, debunking, and it's just Tesla technology again, isn't it? It's the office of alien something. Was it related to Trump's dad or granddad seized, probably father, wouldn't it? The office of alien something. Tesla dying alone in his tower. CIA claiming his patents and etc. So it's got tangible theory. It's not as abstract as what we say. But before I go into that one, what I've just shown you, this one links on. If you've ever heard of Montauk, the Montauk Project and things like that, there's a lot out there on Montauk. The Montauk chronicles the most amazing and secretive research project in recorded history, starting with the Philadelphia experiment of 1943, which we just covered. Invisibility experiments were conducted aboard the USS Eldridge that resulted in a full-scale teleportation of the ship and crew. 40 years of massive research ensued, culminating in bizarre experiments at Montauk Point that actually tapped the powers of creation and allegedly, so it says here, manipulated time itself. The Montauk Project bridges the modalities of science with the most esoteric techniques ever imagined, and finally capitulates us to the threshold of the stars. We all know something is out there, but we're not sure exactly what. This book, at long last, begins to provide some solid clues. There we go. All right. And then, the ancient alien question, a new inquiry into the existence, evidence and influence of ancient visitors. Philip Coppens, and it's got a foreword by Eric von Daniken, so that is quite fascinating read as well. The view of human history will probably never be the same again. We've got about 5 books left, all right. The Book with 14 Seals, The Prophet Zarathustra, and The Christ Revelation. This was recommended by, I think, Rudolf Steiner. Listened to one of the audios, and it's printed by Rudolf Steiner Press. This one's 1991. Chapters like the contents, the book and the prophet. What is the book with 14 seals? Yeah, the Prophet Zarathustra. The Incarnations, the 1,000-Year War, the coming of the Magi. When you've heard me talk about magistrates and magi and magic, and when Josh X was frequenting us some years ago and going through the language, the structure, the alphabet, energy, a little bit like syntax, but on his level. Who are the Magi? The Magi, the ones that followed the star and found baby Jesus. The Magi themselves, the coming of the Magi, and in itself, it's just a nice journey for those that might want to try and look for that one. All right, and then this one, the occult movement in the 19th century. Rudolf Steiner again. This is a print. 1915. It's from the 10 lectures given in Dornach, the occult movement in the 19th century and its relation to modern culture. Again by Rudolf Steiner, first English edition, 1973. This is a first print, so it's not been reprinted or edited as such. It's not in PDF form. You can find them about, and that's in itself, it's not too thick, but that backs up quite a lot. I have got the Madame Blavatsky's Secret Doctrine and ISIS Unveiled, and the Secret Doctrine and ISIS Unveiled by H.P. Blavatsky. This one is called the Theosophical Glossary, and it's just telling you, like, it's got words here, and it will tell you, sure most of you know what a glossary is, but it will, I don't know an interesting word to give you out of here. I haven't had a chance to prepare, but I'll try and find an interest. Adam, there we go. What does Adam say? Adam, in the Kabbalah, Adam is the only begotten and means also red earth. See Adam Adamai in the Secret Doctrine 2, page 452, which I've got the books, you see, so then when I'm reading stuff, much like yourselves, I get perplexed and bamboozled, and it's I need references, and you know, being the way that we are, that I am, I need help with certain things, and it is most identical with Athamas or Thomas, and is rendered into Greek by Didymos, the twin Adam the first, and it goes into it's interesting. It's really good little publication to go with the ones I've already got. And then lastly, these ones, the Bible codes. I think there's Bible code 1 and Bible code is number 2 there, and Bible code 1, Michael Drosnin. They're interesting to look at. You find YouTube videos on these and type in Bible codes, and you'll see them going through the Hebraic, or no, the Hebraic text, and they'll go through and they read it right to left, don't they? And they find certain codes and the way that it's depicted and how they do that, and the future telling of the Bible and the code in itself. That's excellent to help you, those that are interested in studying. You know, it says here, on September the 1st, 94, I flew to Israel and met in Jerusalem with a close friend of Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin, the poet Shem Guri. I gave him a letter which he immediately gave to the Prime Minister. An Israeli mathematician had discovered a hidden code in the Bible that appears to reveal the details of events that took place thousands of years after the Bible was written. My letter to Rabin stated, the reason I'm telling you about this is that the only time your full name, Yitzhak Rabin, is encoded in the Bible, the words assassin that will assassinate cross your name. On November the 4th, 1995, came the awful confirmation, a shot in the back from a man who believed he was on a mission from God. The murder that was encoded in the Bible 3,000 years ago. Shit like that's just interesting, you know. I don't know how you all feel about the translations and Bible and so forth, but it's just fascinating escapism, and it's also tangibly linked into the areas of work of which we're into. And then there's number 2, paperback. That's the hardcover. I couldn't find a hardcover for number 2. The Twin Towers was encoded in the 3,000-year-old text. Airplane appeared in exactly the same place it caused to fall, knocked down, crossed airplane and towers. But it was not this terrorist attack that really shook me. It was what the Bible code predicted was yet to come. This is the sensational sequel to the Bible code, which rocketed to the top of the bestseller charts in '97. The discovery of a code encrypted in the Bible 3,000 years ago caught the public imagination. But if this code predicted the disastrous events of 9/11, what more can it tell us about our future? And if we are on the road to Armageddon, can it give us the information we need to survive? So yeah, it's just stuff like that, you know. It's escapism. It's each to their own. But there you go. There's a quick little rendition, and I'll do a video on its own, and I'll go through some of the others that I think you might find interesting, or it gives you an idea as to where SPLs get some of our acumen research, you know, as we are journalistic in natures and we investigate quite a lot between us. It's quite a big job for one man, which is why we share the burden and why we do what we do here, which is why the title of this video that you are hopefully still watching, yeah, we're on community social cooperatives and trusts, where we're going and how we're going to look to support one another with these cooperatives, community trusts, and look at how we can strengthen ourselves privately rather than, well, even if you are right now relying on the state, entitlement, aka benefits, healthcare, social care, you're not getting much. They're all bursting and they're all past their limits because the Ministry of Defence, it seemingly is, sad to say, are incapable of controlling our borders, and there is masses of mans coming across, not just the illegal immigration but general immigration in itself. And it's not solely down to the Ministry of Defence, but the agencies associated with them and the lack of competent, their egregious performances, and like we've discussed, lack of accountability is leading us down into these roads. So we're a very small island, and all our services, housing, everything is full to bursting. So we cannot, even if you wanted to, rely upon the state as we used to some years ago, and things are getting to the breaking point, which is why we're here as we close down this show for your benefit, for our benefit, for our unborn lineage's benefit, so we can protect rights, property, title rights, retain rights, reserve rights, establish who and what we are in a correct, independent, sovereign republic. That's my dream. I'd like the sovereign republic of New Britain, whatever we call it. But we need to look at establishing and asserting ourselves in this legal calamity, shit show of affairs.
Calamity, yeah.
And I want you to keep emailing. I want you to keep getting in touch. I want you to keep doing what you're doing. I have caught up with an amazing amount of my communications. We've got Kevin managing the Facebook areas there for the public domain. We've got Anders and Albert and PJ, Claire. And we need to get in touch with Claire. It's been a long time. I haven't spoken to her. Bernie, Simon. We're all doing what we can here and there, and I'm eternally grateful for you and your efforts that I've mentioned there, and for what you've done and what you continue to do, for the scribes, for all the comments on the videos, the information that's coming out, and the amount of networks that we have now across the various platforms and domains, and the years that we've been together is just humbling, and I'm eternally grateful for that. I apologise for the lack of substance over the last 12 months, but those...
No. We won't listen to it.
Oh, okay. But to the scribes, it seems that things have been quiet, Anders, and they're not all in the know as much as you guys are with everything that's gone off. But again, thank you. And this year, I have a plan. We have a plan, and more than one plan, not just this community social plan. But I'm going to approach the Defender of the Faith and let them know that we are ready for administrating the estates. Bless you and thank you all. Much love.
Fair play.
We get ourselves strong. We can't, if we don't value ourselves and don't protect our own rights, property, titles, family, then we can't go out and battle with things as they are. So we'll teach you all, we'll show you all what we've done. There's videos on the channel of us and myself dealing with agents, DCAs, third-party agents, collections, clampers, officers and things like that, and we've done well. We're in a good position. We may not be in the private with the pot of gold and access to the TDA, but we're in a lot better position and stronger than we've ever been. And we are going to look for alternative provisions in the form of remedy, maintenance and cure, and we shall need that as soon as practicably possible.
Certainly.
I was thinking about the Adamite you was talking about, and you said it also meant red soil.
Yeah, red earth. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, and I'm thinking, in what creation story is the human made out of clay? And that is soil, you know, Adamites. So that's the first one. They are made of clay, soil. You see the connection?
Go on, please explain it. I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Adamite from Adam, the first man. And then Adamite is also red soil. And red soil you make clay of. And in one of these creation histories, I don't remember which one, they made a human out of clay.
Okay.
Yes. So that's where I see it. Adam, Adamite. It goes with the clay, the first creation.
Yes, I get what you're saying, and yeah, it's Genesis is creation, isn't it? In Genesis, it would be covered. The books of the Bible as well, you know, the KJV, and then the Christian Catholic Bible, and then the Ethiopian Bible. You got the Colbrin Bible. When we look at Bibles and stories of creations, you know, it is quite a tedious thing. But coming from phonetic Hebraic text, going into Greek, and gone from Greek into Latin, Roman to New World Testament, then into the KJV and the Geneva Bibles, Colbrin Bible. There's too many. It really is but they all have their purpose and meanings. But 88, 60 something in the KJV, then still in the 60s with the New Testament and the Catholic Bible, and then the Holy Bible, and then you've got the Ethiopian, which is close to 88, I think, Bible, and then you obviously your other editions, People's Popular Front Bible, the Popular People's Front Bible. Jerusalem, because it's Jerusalem, the Popular Jerusalem I was thinking of there. So, blessed are the meek and the cheesemakers.
Oh dear.
The spirit of Hitchens is also creeping in. But yes, Madder, Earth, Mudder, Santos went on to one of them in a podcast we did some years ago about Adama, so forth and so on. So,
Madder Chode.
yeah, we're standing on the shoulders of giants, and we are somewhat going through a little bit of an alchemical phase, a mental alchemical phase there. We're going to look at going into the halls of Amente, or the Akashic records as it's known, and bless up. Yeah, it's you know, it's been a joy and a pleasure and a privilege, and all I can say is we need help. We need to stick together. We've got strength in numbers. Continue the work.
Keep strong.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to take the time to thank Albert, Anders, Kevin for your time tonight, for what you do, for your help, for your support, for your trust, for everything you've done, as well as the scribes. You know, it's an honour and a privilege.
No, it's, you know, it's all good. It does take a bit of a toll though, and I say I'm not particularly healthy anyway, so I sort of have a little run at it and then it breaks me. But keep the hand in, you know, do what I can where I'm needed. So it's a lot easier now. But yeah, glad to do it. Just, you know, just the way things have gone the last few months for everybody. It's just been a quiet, difficult time to set aside, trying to repair ourselves, you know, when you do get a bit of time out. But it's all good, and I'm glad everybody's been in the room tonight. Much love to you all. Great to see you all. Lisa especially, I want to just shout out because I haven't seen Lisa and James for a while. Hope James is all right, Lisa,
Yeah.
too. And bless you and your mum and
Nice,
James and all the
James.
family.
There's got your own personal nurse there, haven't you? Hopefully. Bless, yeah, I can't think of. It's horrible. I'm checking the screen, yeah, before we go. Anders, Albert, would you like to say anything as we close down on the not so long goodbye?
Yeah, I will only say good night, allihopa. Good night, everybody.
And night all. Yeah. I'm up for servitude. Yeah. All the best to
Nice
everyone
one.
that's been there. Yeah. Take care.
Thank you, Bert.
Nice one, Albert.
I'm just checking the room now and seeing what's being said there. Peter Edros, the room's finding
Checking the room.
they're finding it hard to read the hieroglyphs, eyes and noses and fists and faces.
Yeah.
We're not getting you. It's getting lost in translation.
You don't get a funny story now to end this with.
Yeah.
Kevin got one. I'm sure Kevin got one.
You started me thinking, but I think are any of them broadcastable? No, I haven't really. Not, but we could make it a feature from now on,
Yeah.
and I'll get something together. But yeah, off the top of my head,
The one last thing I didn't mention, Archaics. If any of you are on the Archaics side of things, or you know of Jason and the Archaics channel, he appears to me to be like the Oracle of Delphi in some aspects and ways. So yeah, it looks interesting. He has 2,000 souls chatting in his chat room. He's got a busy old channel. Man knows a lot, and he seems to be of substance. I didn't know him from Adam until about a month ago, until some people has kept putting on the comments on the video and in the live chat, Jason from Archaic. So I've checked him out. I've been on the video. I've done as much as I can. He was on a live chat, and his admins or moderator, the man next to him, said, yes, Indiglo, we've got your message. We will be in touch. So I don't know how it works and how long or whatever, and I'm not desperate, but it would be another bridge to create that may be highly beneficial for us all. He's a book collector. He's knowledgeable, he's insightful. I don't know him from anybody else. And I'd like to see if myself, Kevin, the admins, Albert, and there's anybody who's willing and able could, perhaps have a chat across the pond with them. We would be out of our depth. I'll say it now because there's got so much support, so much activity. And I would like to build up and expose what we know as well and build this community and channel. So if you are connected or you do have you do watch them, then you could say you haven't messaged Dave on Indiglo yet, have you, or will you? That if you want to see it, then please help us and we'll see what we can do. That would be fun.
We see what's happening here.
Yeah, people have doubts. That's all right, Menza. That's not a problem. People have doubts about everybody. That's good. It's healthy, to have that. So we will be open and conservative, polite and courteous, and see where it takes us. But he doesn't need to chat to us. Let's put it like that. A channel like that, we are just small fry. Indiglo, small fry. But then good things come out of small packages. We are what we are, and I'm not trying to get on his channel to promote indie. I'm just saying that you've mentioned it, you've introduced me to him, and I've had a look and I've gone boom, blown away. Oracle of Delphi is what I'd say. To describe Archaics, man's got a lot in his head, a lot, and he seems quite competent and intellectual, and I would like to let you know we've tried and we're waiting. Simon, White Rabbit, Spaniard, We're waiting. We've had a chat, myself and Kevin, went well. Sovereign Project, did a chat in Nottingham, went well. You know, so any other channels you want to recommend or anything you think might be beneficial for us all, then email us, comments on the video. You know how it goes.
Indeed.
Coming from Tube.
Mensa, nice to see you, mate. Hope you're all right. What else is happening in the place? Now we're nearly at the end.
All right, yeah, thank you, Jerry. I saw a few of you in there actually. I know a few of you that you're in there, and your scribes and we're chatting. It was nice to see you and to link up like that. But yeah, we will see. There we go. That's better, Peter. Bosh. All right. Thank you all for your time and for what you do. We'll have a lot more regular shows, and I will look after the ones that are members, aka supporters of this channel. Thank you for your membership, for your viewership, for your donations and support, and I will provide more exclusive content for you this year. And I think that's it, Kevin. Bert, Gansders.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yep.
Much love to everybody. Good night. Keep well.
Night, everybody. Lisa, sleep well.
Yeah.
Don't forget Mullane leaf for the smokers. Have a go. Let me know. Thank you, Kevin. I will see you. Go on.
I'm gonna live by the letterbox the next day, a couple of days.
It's on its way. It took about 4
Yeah,
days.
nice one.
Yeah,
no worries.
I'll send Silver.
We'll get it sorted.
And this one, like a new man, telling you. I can smoke 2 fags at once, Dave. Wow.
Yeah, getting down me now. Nice one. Love to all. No worries. You're welcome. Ganders, great to chat with you. Albert, same. Catch up real soon.
Yeah, I'm back in the office at 6 a.m. So I'll see you in 4 days, maybe around Friday or something. I'll give a nudge, say hello. All right, Kev.
No worries. It's all good.
Take care, all. Bye.
See you, Bert. Thank you, bro. Take care, man. Look after the fam. All right, we're ending it then. See you, boys. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
See you, Gills. Scribes.
Night all.